Live from the historic Big Dome, the Araneta Coliseum, ABS-CBN Sports brings you the second round of Season 72 of your UAAP.
One big fight, go Ateneo! One big fight, go Ateneo! One big fight!
Good afternoon from the Big Dome, the Araneta Coliseum. Welcome to the live and exclusive coverage of Season 72 of the UAAP here on Studio 23. And of course, the UAAP is available in high definition courtesy of Sky Cable 166 Balls HD. And of course, over 1 million subscribers watching us through the Filipino channel all over the world. You know, we are 1 week removed from another memorable chapter from the epic rivalry. And the defending champions, the Ateneo Blue Eagles, survived the De La Salle Green Archers in round number 1, 76-72 in overtime last Sunday. And today is round number 2.
Ateneo has won 4 in a row, including their last game against the UE Red Warriors to start the second round. The final score was 80-75. That keeps Ateneo at the top of the standings at 7-1. Meanwhile, De La Salle University has lost its last 2 outings, including its last one against the Adamson Falcons in a heartbreaking loss, 61-55. This was the first time La Salle has lost to Adamson in the last 5 years. And this brings La Salle down to 4-4 in the standings. Coach Franz Pumaren has never lost 3 in a row in the UAP, and La Salle has never been below 500 this late in the season.
Interesting. And many have not yet fully recovered from last week's encounter between the age-old rivals. That includes us.
Exactly. However, just to refresh your memory, and in case you haven't had enough, here's the highlights of the sights and the sounds of last Sunday's game between Ateneo and La Salle.
Electrifying start.
Webb picks up a long one. By Josh Webb. Bad pass and great coverage on the Webb. Puts it in over Ryan Bonifay.
3 points already scored by La Salle, but you're not seeing the best defense so far.
Sensational drive by Joshua Webb.
Youthful exuberance.
Andrada trying to beat his again. Takes him away. Salmon is rejected by Andrada. Atkins with a handoff. Andrada puts it in. Oh boy, what?
The ball, they're playing the passing game.
Giant puts him a 3. Gets it to go. Boy, they needed that.
Badly needed that one.
Here's Jai Reyes. Sends another baby home.
Emotions running high.
This year. Season 21 points of Bringas.
Look out, right in front of the
Maybe it was ano lang, instinct or like emotion came into play lang.
And Ateneo's only behind by 1. So
For me, it was like a crucial stage of the game that made a spark for our team.
A moment of concern.
Raba Aliseri getting his first 2 points courtesy of a dime drop by Ryan Bueno. They're looking for Raba downstairs. Raba with a couple of moves. Put it up and in. Beautiful move right there. Bit this Jai hesitation move.
Iba talaga yung feeling, masakit talaga. Kinabahan din ako, siyempre baka may mangyari masama rin sa team.
Well, siyempre at first natakot ako kasi sila ba yung major scorer namin sa team eh. Pero yun nga, sinabi ko sa teammates na remain positive ngayon, tapos stick together sa game plan.
A rally point.
Salamat, the cutting Salva gives it back to Salamat. Beautiful patience and decision making.
Siguro yung nag-summon sa akin si Coach Norman kasi parang ang laki ng trust na binibigay niya sa akin.
A fighting heart.
drives. Saves. Goes to the other side.
Look at that, RB Bringas. What's your height?
Here points later on. Bringas starts the outside shot, and he gets it to go from deep. Inbounding. Bringas from up top. Gets it to go. Oh, what a big shot.
A cardiac finish.
6 seconds. Bhagat Singh. 3 seconds. Bhagat Singh puts it up. And Colby, you've got to be kidding me. And we will go into overtime.
An extra session.
Again, it's Baclao on Joshua Webb.
Barua finally makes something. He is 0 out of 3 before that shot. Spades away. That's short from Baclao.
The most long down the floor.
Experience face-off.
Waiting for his move. Salva rotates. He is able to get it up. Talk about magic and nothing breaks.
With the 14 points already scored by LaSalle, but you're not seeing the best defense of Ateneo so far. Look at that.
That's a sensational drive by Joshua Webb. 10 on their 24. They're looking for Raba downstairs. Raba with a couple of pivot moves. Puts it up and in.
Beautiful move right there. Faking off further into the baseline.
Snake fit. This Jai hesitates to move. Puts it up. No! But there comes away with the rebound.
Abba comes down hard. Badly on that left ankle. He's still down. With a twist like that, I don't know if you can circle back in this game.
23 minutes. 13 points for Raba Aroseni, the reigning MVP.
2 seconds to go. Ryan knows it.
Goes all the way!
And no call. No call. Whether a charge or a block.
They will probably count that because it looked like it was good. Ateneo LaSalle Part 1. And we are all squared up. Salamat, the cutting Salva. Gives it back to Salamat for 3. Gets it to go!
Beautiful patience and decision-making by the sophomore Nico Salva.
Here we go. Everybody standing up here at the Araneta Coliseum. A 3-point shot or a 3-point play to send this game into overtime. 6 seconds. Bhagat Singh. 3 seconds. Bhagat Singh puts it up. And baby! You've got to be kidding me! We will go into overtime. Barua left open. Kurt Long recovering. Bringas goes to his right. Puts up a long shot. That's wild. It goes to Malabis. 3 to shoot. Malabis puts it in and gets it to go.
Got a 12-second differential, game clock and shot clock.
Buenafe with possession. Webb and Mangas waiting for his move. Salva rotates. Puts it in. He is able to get it up and in.
Talk about magic and lucky breaks. Enough to absorb the run of LaSalle to go to overtime and brought down to this.
And Buenafe taking it away as RB pitches it. And again, DJ Ateneo able to cut out the win.
The strange thing about when you play LaSalle, you take whatever comes. It's not something where there's a written script before the game starts. If a player goes down with an injury, the first thought that went through my mind is grab Nico Salva and get him in the game. Because now Nico Salva has to be the one to step up and produce. We have to do something about Joshua Webb. He showed a lot of energy in our first game. Basically outran us up and down the basketball court. So we're definitely going to have to adjust to him because he was a factor in that game. And we did a pretty good job on their veterans, but I thought some of the younger players got away with points. We have more experience in them. There's no question about that. Most of the guys on my team this year actually played for the championship team last year. We've been through a lot of these type of games before. I think it was probably just the will to win. You know, we really wanted to win the game. We have our goals in mind. We want to make it to the top 2. So you just will yourself to victory, which is what we did on that day.
Welcome to round number 2, part 2 of the saga that is Ateneo and LaSalle for season 72. The Green Archers, a 2-game losing streak after winning 4, going up against the Blue Eagles, who are still on top of the UAAP world, sharing the top, of course, with the FEU Tamaraos. Nevertheless, they're still at number 1, and they are still defending champions. So right back here where we were last Sunday, the Araneta Coliseum, for the main event of your Sunday showdown. Joshua Webb and the rest of the LSU versus Brian Buenafe and the defending champions, Ateneo de Manila University. Thank you very much for watching us live on Studio 23, and for those checking out the high-definition broadcast on Sky Cable Channel 166. For ABS-CBN Sports, Boom Gonzalez together with DJ Manotoc. You know, it's just been a week, but there have been games played in between. Ateneo, of course, coming up with a win against UE in the last game. LaSalle with probably the most horrible shooting that they've experienced in the last 6 years here in the UAAP.
Exactly. You know, the way they played last game was reminiscent of how they started the season against FEU and against UE back then with their first 2 losses. But nonetheless, both teams came off tough games, just with different outcomes. Ateneo did not have a walk in the park against UE, and obviously neither did not LaSalle. So it's going to be a big test for them to continue, for Ateneo to continue their winning ways, and for LaSalle, the pressure is to bounce back.
All right, speaking of winning ways, last Sunday, you gave us keys to winning for both Ateneo and LaSalle. So let's start with Ateneo. TJ, what do you have planned for us?
Well, let's pick things up with Ateneo, and it's pretty much similar, but we got to pick things up also from how they fared against LaSalle. First things first, they got to move with the ball, and move without the ball. Second, defend the paint and defend it with intensity. And third is to, as usual against LaSalle, limit their turnovers. Let's get into this one by one now. Moving that ball and moving without the ball means you're not just going to play the post, dip it into Raba, and expect a double and kick it out and have one shot. They were not moving without the ball. They were not cutting. They were spacing well, yes, but because of LaSalle's tenacious defense in the first half, they were able to rotate quickly on those shooters and be able to challenge those shots that were not falling for Ateneo in that first half. So lack of cutting to the basket, lack of aggressiveness of swinging that ball around. It was too much of a one-pass, one-shot situation for Ateneo in that first half and even in the early parts of the third quarter, which allowed LaSalle to put up their lead. Secondly, defending the paint with intensity. We saw Joshua Webb make mincemeat of the defense of Ateneo
early on,
if there was any defense in that first half, because he was taking them to school easily on the fast breaks, and even in the half-court set, he was driving at will. There was even a time we were even saying it's like they rolled out the red carpet for Joshua Webb. It was so rare to see Ateneo's interior defense that weak and that easy for Joshua Webb to pile up his points in the first half. So you gotta have Ateneo's big men. If you want them to defend better, you have to defend with intensity, and like they really want to stop those guys getting inside the paint.
And number 3, of course, we all know that the key to LaSalle's game, especially this year with a lot of the youngsters, you mentioned it, to keep the turnover numbers down.
Absolutely. It's not a it's not a difficult thing to figure out that when you want to beat LaSalle, one of the main things is to limit your turnovers. LaSalle, with the lack of their firepower offensively, they know they haven't been shooting well, but they know one of their main weapons in the last so many years has been their defense and has been their offensive firepower coming off that press. So you want to limit your turnovers as much as possible in order for you to do a good job against LaSalle. Commendably, Ateneo is 3rd in the league in limiting their turnovers, so they have to continue that trend if they want to do well against LaSalle.
And just to remind everybody, going back to that first encounter, LaSalle, you know, probably in the first 3 quarters really kept Ateneo at bay, and as you said, the championship experience of Ateneo just really shone in 4th quarter and in the overtime situation, right? Let's concentrate right now on the De La Salle Green Archers under Coach Franz Pumaren. As you mentioned earlier, top of the coverage, TJ, has not lost 3 in a row.
They have not, and you know what? One of those things they have to do today is to not keep that in their mind. Don't put that kind of pressure on them. Just take this as a single solitary game against another team on the side of the court. The 3 things I wanted to map out for LaSalle. First up, veterans need to show up. Seriously. Second, help and rotate on defense and rotate quickly. And lastly, of course, force those turnovers and convert them quickly to turnover points. The veterans, Boom, have been strangely absent for LaSalle this year, especially with the departure of Casio and Rico Marhofer. A lot of people were expecting guys like Mangahas, Bader Malabes, PJ Parua, Simon Atkins is on his third year, and the other guys who are at least third year or more to really step up their game, but somehow they have taken a step backwards in their development and they have not picked up those numbers. So the veterans have to show up at least at par with what they were doing last year. Unfortunately, it's dipped and they're still looking for that hero amongst themselves who will step up and who will carry them into the second round.
Special mention, James Mangas, who we talked about in that game, 0 out of 6 in that ball game. Now, your second point.
Well, help and rotate quickly on defense. Without a doubt, Raba Aluseni is very tough to stop one-on-one. Yes, there were some highlights. Yuten Andrade had 2 big blocks on him, but still, in the whole process of the game, it's so hard to defend him and the rest of the big men of Ateneo on a one-on-one basis, considering the fact you're a smaller team. So they have to collapse down on defense, and when they do so, Ateneo's going to want to kick that ball out, so they have to be ready to rotate out quickly on the shooters and the perimeter for Ateneo.
And point number 3, of course, the bread and butter, so to speak, of the LaSalle Green Archers is the fact that they love to force turnovers and get some easy points.
You know, LaSalle and the rest of the Pumaran clan, you'll be surprised, they've got so many variations of their full court press stacked up in their playbooks, and they whip this out time and again during their games, and that's one thing that they love to do, to try to get the easiest points. They know this is what they need to make up for the lack of their field goal shooting being at par with what people expect them to be. So they got to force those turnovers in the press or even in playing in the passing lanes like what they did in the first half and convert them to easy transition points.
And they are number 2 in terms of forcing turnovers on the opponent, and number 3 in the 8-team roster that we have here in the UAAP in terms of converting turnover points. They really have to step that department up if they want to have any kind of chance against the defending champions. We'll talk more about this game when we come back here on Studio 23. We are back with you, round number 2 of Ateneo versus LaSalle here at the Araneta Coliseum, all live on Studio 23. And the players from the blue side already making their entrance as we will commence festivities here at this historic Big Dome in a few minutes. In the meantime, let's just refresh our viewers, TJ, and tell everybody where these two teams are at. It's not often that we see Ateneo and LaSalle far from each other when it comes from the team standings.
Exactly. Well, you got to look at it at this bigger picture right now. Ateneo, as you mentioned, is still on top, tied with FEU at 7-1. And you're going to see that in just a bit. And you see the Green Archers, they're in the middle of the pack, but they're also dangerously at the bottom 4 of the grouping. So you can see if they lose one, and let's say NU or UP or even Adamson rattle off 2 straight wins, Adamson could have won that one game also today. They can also drop down to number 6. So this is how precarious the situation is for LaSalle. I'd say throw that stat out the window of being worried of losing 3 straight under Coach Franz. Get that out of your minds. Your worry now is you want to get back in the thick of things in the team standings, and you want to be 5-4. You do not want to drop to 4-5, when you still have to play some of the tougher teams in the league in the second round.
As we've said, they're in that gray area. They're in that stack from 3 to 8 where it gets crazy with 1 or 2 wins or 1 or 2 losses. Right. In the meantime, we're talking about Ateneo LaSalle. Let's check out our Cornetto comparative stats. Select a Cornetto tip to top sarap. We're talking about one of the 2 of 3 best defensive teams here in the league. Only FEU is better than Ateneo and LaSalle.
Exactly. So given that Ateneo only gives us 63.3 points per game, LaSalle only 66 points per game, you are going to see a quality defensive ball game. Offensively, though, Ateneo scores more. They score 72 points per game as opposed to LaSalle's 66 per game. Field goal shooting is the major discrepancy here today. Ateneo, number 2 in the league, and just a close second, actually. They're at 42.4%. LaSalle, dead last at 32.7%, and it didn't help that they shot very, very poorly again against Adamson in their last loss. Rebounding, though, will be interesting because, you know, with the amount of misses LaSalle has, they will be really going after those offensive boards. And they're actually number 4 in the rankings in terms of the rebound category. They're going to try to keep that as a strength for them. There were at times They even led Ateneo in the rebounding category last Sunday. So this is a stat where Ateneo is challenged to step up, and their big men have to prove, hey, height is also might.
The De La Salle Green Archers are hoping to snap a 2-game losing skid, are already getting ready and warmed up for this epic battle once again. We'll take a break and we'll break it down even some more here at the Araneta Coliseum. Stay with us, please. Second round action continues here at the Araneta Coliseum. The main event of your Sunday showdown sees the Blue Eagles going up against De La Salle Green Archers. Again, we are minutes away from that. For ABS-CBN Sports, once again, welcome. I'm Boom Gonzalez with DJ Manotok, and we've covered a number of Ateneo games already here this season, 72. How many times have we said, TJ, that Ateneo has been winning? They're 7-1, even with their MVP struggling.
Well, you know, that's the nice thing about Ateneo. It's not just a one-dimensional team or not a one-man team. Yes, they do have the MVP. He can score a boatload of points, but they will not live or die just with one guy. And proof of that is in the last 3 games, Rabah Al-Husseini actually has been in a bit of a slump. We did mention this going into the last game against Asal, that he was in a 2-game slump. And in the last 3 games before the game versus UE, he's only been averaging 9.7 points a ball. And not only that, he's been only shooting 35% from the floor. So that's very uncharacteristic of the game that Rabah Al-Husseini normally plays. But against the University of the East last Thursday, boy, did he explode. And he erased all doubts of that slump. And he erased all doubts of that injury that he suffered against LaSalle when he sprained his ankle. He scored 30 points on 63% shooting, 12 of 19, doing it from all over the place again when he's on. From the outside, from the inside, running the break, you name it. Rabah was able to do just that, and he showed everybody, and he showed, more importantly, Ateneo fans, not to worry, I am in good condition coming into the game for LaSalle.
I got you. That's what he was saying. Rabah Al-Husseini, of course, probably by now 100% already coming into this game. They're coming off a win against the UE Red Warriors, who are DLSU is coming off a loss against the Adamson Soaring Falcons, and boy, what a struggle it was. I do not remember seeing LaSalle in the years that I've covered Ateneo LaSalle, or just LaSalle games in general. I do not remember struggling this much for them against Adamson University.
Not at all, Boom. Not against Adamson. I mean, understandably, they had a tough time in their first 2 assignments of the season, that they're a young team, they're much younger than what Coach Francis has handled before, and they played UE and FEU right away, 2 of the toughest teams in the league today. But against Adamson, who at that time was the last place team in the league with only 1 win, they were really misfiring. They only shot a really bad 26% from the field. Overall, 16 field goals the whole game. And thankfully for the 3-pointers, which is 7 for 20 at 35%, it survived them to get up above 20%. But their 2-point field goal shooting was really shocking at 22%, only 9 out of 41. Totally different from what you saw against Ateneo.
And that was the lowest percentage that they've had in 6 years. The first time they lost against Adamson in 5 years. Let's see what happens in this game. Ateneo versus LaSalle, round number 2.
Live on Studio 23, the Filipino channel with replay on Ball Sky Channel 34, and for the first time ever in high definition on Sky Cable Channel 166. It was exactly a week ago that this historic venue, the Big Dome, the Araneta Coliseum, witnessed unity for Tita Cory. 1 color, 1 goal. Today, your Season 72 UAAP welcomes you to the second part of the greatest rivalry ever in Philippine sports. It's LaSalle Ateneo Round 2. First, celebrating its sesquicentennial 150th year on December 10 of this year. Here's the starters for the defending champions, Ateneo de Manila Blue Eagles. At power forward, number 7, Nonoy Baclao. Shooting forward, number 11, coach of the Blue Eagles, Norman Black. And now, the starting line for the school celebrating its centennial year in 2011. Here's next year's UAAP hosts, the De La Salle Green Archers. Point guard number 7, Simon Atkins. Off guard number 18, Hiram Bogatsing. Center number 15, Ferdinand. And power forward number 11, RP Green.
Well, the starters on your screens for both Ateneo and LaSalle Part 2. This is round number 2 action with them. They met last Sunday. LaSalle, the last time they met Ateneo, was armed with a 4-game winning streak. Today, they are nursing a 2-game losing streak coming off the most horrendous shooting, especially from the 2-point area, in 6 years. And here we go. First taste of the spheroid will go to the guys in green.
You know, you did mention, Boom, last Sunday, LaSalle was coming off a 4-game winning streak. Not only that, they were coming off an emphatic win against USC, a win that everybody said was the kind of win they needed coming into an Ateneo-LaSalle game.
It's a major stark contrast to how they're coming in right now.
Exactly.
And RV Bringas misses his first shot of the ball game. Salamat looking at Jai. 8 on their 24. They swing it to Kurt Long for the pull-up, and he knocks it down.
First possession of Ateneo, very patient, beautiful spacing and beautiful ball movement, finding the open man. And Raba Al-Husseini didn't even get a touch at the post. There was just so much ball movement and so much man movement.
Which is one of your points, and we will revisit all of that maybe halfway through. But in the meantime, Bogatsing cannot shake. Eric Salamat had to put up a wild shot. And that is a problem, especially against this very tall Ateneo team where they have big men running the break.
And look at the guy who supposedly had a sprained ankle just 7 days ago, beating everybody down court for that easy layup.
He looks focused. He's got that game face on, talking about the defending MVP, the reigning MVP.
And we don't even see him with any additional ankle straps or ankle brace or anything at all on his foot.
It's a good sign for the Ateneo fans. Ferdinand, no go. Second chance, still no go, but he is hacked and fouled. As we bring in the third member of our broadcast team from Ateneo, talking about the health of the Eagles, Jessica Mendoza.
Yes, Boom, some members of the Blue Eagles yesterday caught the stomach flu and had to sit out yesterday's practice, notably Bacon Austria and Nico Salva. But Coach Norman Black is confident that if these two guys can't bring their A game today, well, his bench is deep enough to cover their potential lack of energy. Now, incidentally, energy and intensity is what Coach wants to see today, especially in terms of transition and man-to-man defense, in particular against LaSalle's more aggressive forwards. Boom and TJ.
Thank you very much for the Samson courtside update. Jessica Mendoza. Ferdinand missing his first free throw of the ball game, where he is shooting a shade under 39% in season 72.
We're seeing the disappointing numbers for Ferdinand, who is the starting center for LaSalle. Only 1.9 points per game and 2.9 rebounds per ball game so far in the 8 games they've played here in season 72.
All right, I heard there was a guest in the practice sessions of the De La Salle Green Archers, Erin